One thing you'll want to do if you're analyzing football data in Excel, or if you're just doing data analysis more generally, is look at different scenarios. So in the context of football data, what does that mean? Well, in the previous video, a couple of videos ago, we looked at the DSUM formula. The DSUM formula allows us to put criteria. In this case, we want to input odds brackets for those home odds. So for example, more than 1 and less than 3 for the home team, that returns 9.89 P&L. So then we want to do experimentation, different scenarios. So what about more than 2 and less than 3? And we're feeling the power of DSUM here, 14.71. Okay, so what if we go less than 5, for example, and suddenly we've got 34.32? We want to continue this process. We want to optimize. We want to do lots of experimentation, but clearly that's a manual process. That's going to take a lot of time. And could we automate it using one of my Excel secret weapons and what I call one of my Excel curiosities? So what facility allows us to get all of that analysis done at the click of a button? You can see we've got the lower bounds there, more than 1, for example, and the upper bounds here down the side, less than 4.5. Let's take the example here, more than 2 and less than 5. So that takes us here. You can see we've got 34.3 there. We've done all that work at the click of a button. I'm going to show you how to put it together in the next 10 minutes or so. But if we're meeting for the first time, a big welcome to Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions. I'm Chris Mortimer. I love bringing the powerful stuff in Excel to people like you. And if you're analyzing football data in Excel, make sure you check out our Excel VBA for football traders playlist. It's absolutely packed with 10 to 15 minute videos and some longer videos covering techniques like this. It's going to save you so much time in your football data analysis. So with that said, make sure you download the download file. It's in the video description below, and work along with me. You can find the link to the playlist in the video description below. So the first thing we're going to do is delete everything. Now, this facility, which is called a data table, we'll come back to that later. This facility, we can't delete it by parts. We have to delete the whole thing. So if I just go anywhere in the table and try to delete it, it's going to say can't change part of a data table. Data table is the facility we're using. So when we're using data tables, we have to remember Control-Shift right and Control-Shift down. If you want to delete them, you have to delete the whole thing. I'm going to go Alt-H-E-A here on the Windows PC, and we've managed to get rid of our data table. So how do you go about setting one up? The first concept we've got to deal with is that of candidate values. Candidate values. So a candidate value is a value you want to test in the model. Remember, we've got 2 cells. We've got 1 cell for the lower bound here and 1 cell for the upper bound. So what are our candidate values? Well, for the lower bound, I'm going to start at 1. And then I'm going to increment up, Alt-WVG here, just bring back the grid lines. I'm going to increment up in increments of 0.5. So in the formula, I'm going to say the cell above plus 0.5. Now, you could do 0.1 or 0.2, any increment you like. That's going to affect the size of your data table, but they can be as big as you want them to be. They do get a little bit inefficient if you make them really big, however. I'm just going to go up to 9 here. And then because of the way DSUM works, you can see we need that more than sign as well. So how can we quickly get that more sign in? Well, you could go ahead and do it manually, put all those more signs in, but you can see I'm already messing up. So I'm going to do this formulaically. So I'm going to say this cell equals this cell, rather this cell equals the more than sign, and the cell to the right here. So a little formula there that gives us the more than sign, shift and down arrow to select the range there, and Control D. You can see we've got all of our more than signs there. I want to examine a similar range, this time for the other cell that's going to contain candidate values. So this time the upper bounds for those home odds. How to do that? Well, I'm going to do another formula because the values are going to be the same. I'm going to increase by the same increments. So we're going to say this time we want less than. You could do less than and equal to if you wanted to. I'm going to say less than and the ampersand, the and sign, which is going to allow me to connect these 2 elements together, and this value here. and then go Control D. And that's going to give me the values I need. Now I want to transpose those values. How can you quickly do that in Excel? Well, Control C, then we want to paste special. So Control Alt V, and then transpose is E at the bottom here. And then we just want the values. So we're setting up our candidate values. This is essential for when we're producing this powerful data analysis. So I've got my candidate values here and here. So the other values I can now delete, Control Shift down, just hit the Shift key. These values first, I need to fix them as values. So Control C, Control Alt V and V is going to allow me to fix those as values. They shouldn't disappear now. Hopefully, when I delete these values here and these, we can get rid of too. So this is an essential first step when we're using data tables. We have to create candidate values for this cell, down this row, candidate values for this cell, down in this row here. Now, this top left cell is critical. This is where we connect the output cell from the model. That sounds very technical, isn't it? When we're using a data table, we have to have a model, and a model consists of input, process, and output. Check our video, Complete Guide to Excel Football Traders, in the video card, also in our playlist where I explain all of these foundational concepts. What does that mean in practice? It's really simple. The output cell from our analysis, the cell that's displaying the outputs, is in this cell here. So we just say equals and then connect the cell. So we've connected that data table to the model. All the model is going to do is display outputs from the data table. So we've got our connection there. You can see it's just duplicating that value, and we can prove that by just changing the value. You can see it's rounding differently, but we've got the same underlying value there. So we've done our preparation. We've got our candidate values, and we've linked the model in the top left corner. So are you ready to actually produce a data table? But very quickly, why is it called a data table? It's one of those things I think that's misnamed in Excel. It's a very curious thing. It doesn't contain data. It actually creates outputs, or if I could rename data tables, I would call them optimization tables. Optimization tables, they allow us to optimize, which is just putting lots of different values in a model and finding the optimal value. So I'd like to call them an optimization table. To create one, we've got to select everything that we have just made there. Yeah, there's some steps to work through. If you get one step wrong, it's not going to work. Don't worry. It took me years to learn how to build data tables. It will take a few iterations. You'll get there. We've got to select everything, including the cell in the top left corner that links back to the model. So once we've made that selection, we can then go to data. And the analysis we want is what if analysis, and then data table here. You can also go for the shortcut Alt A W T on the Windows PC, T for data table here. And then you get this very simple, but also quite curious dialog box. And Excel is asking for a row input cell and a column input cell. So what on earth are we talking about here? So Excel is saying those candidate values in the row, where's the input cell in the model for those values? The candidate values that you put in the column, where's the input cell in the model for those values? So model consists of input, process, and output. Excel is saying, I'm happy to do all this work for you, but where do you want me to put these values in the model? Now we've got a clue because the model is pre-populated. So the less than values in the column, the more than values rather in the column, we'd like them to go into this cell here. I can see L5 appearing here. Then the less than values, the upper bounds, I'd like those to appear. They're arranged in the row. So it's the row input cell. I'd like them to go into this cell here. So really take your time doing this, and don't worry if you get it wrong. Just go back through the video, download the download file, work along with me. Seriously, it took me years to be able to do this frequently. You know, Excel is a skill. If you don't practice, you don't get better. If you practice, you can't help but get better at Excel. I just hit enter now. Hopefully, we're going to get our data table. It's a different orientation to the one I showed you at the beginning, but we do have our data table here. I'm going to do a little bit of formatting straight away. So Control Shift right, Control Shift down. We're going to move away from Calibri first. Alt H F F, and then let's go for Arial here. I can just hit enter. We've got Arial. I'm going to go for 9 in terms of the font size. That just seems to fit better. Then Alt H A C. Alt-HAC gives me the central justification. Alt-HAM gives me the middle justification too. Alt-HBA gives me all of those borders. And I'm going to go ahead and just shade the row and column that have the candidate values in. And that just creates a bit of differentiation, doesn't it? It just helps us to interpret what's going on here. So what is going on here? Okay, so what we're saying is if we put more than 1 and less than 3 into a model, which is one of the examples we did at the beginning, if we put those values into the model, more than 1 and less than 3, what do we get? We get 9.89, which is in the model right here. Let's go for something more interesting. More than 2 and less than 5, which I believe we did at the beginning as well. More than 2 and less than 5, we can see 34.32. So are you getting a sense for how this is working and the transformational impact this could have on your data analysis? But we haven't got that heat map effect yet, have we? How do we get that effect? Well, we combine the data table with conditional formatting. So Control-Shift-Right, Control-Shift-Down, just select the data. We want to select the range we want to apply the conditional formatting to. Then we can go to conditional formatting. There's some nice options here. By all means, experiment with some different options. I'm going to go for the color scale, and suddenly you see how the colors accelerate the interpretation of the data. It's a beautiful visualization. This is why I love heat maps. And we can see straight away what our maximum value is, more than 2 and less than 5 here. And then if we go down to this range, we can see straight away, well, that's probably not an area that we want to be dealing with. That's our beautiful heat map. And this is how data tables and Excel Curiosity can accelerate your data analysis. If you like this video, guys, don't forget to check out our Excel VBA Football Traders playlist. We've got 10 to 15 minute videos like this about my Excel secret weapons and other techniques that I've learned in 5, 6, 7 years of working with the best football traders in the business. So looking forward to seeing you in one of those other videos. Take care. I'll see you there.